Um, Maybe this is for you, Conjoy, about the language, the mathematical and geometric language of letters and numbers, if you will, of sound and light. Right? Like ah. Remember do, re, mi. Do, re, mi. Re, mi. Ra. Radiance. Radiance. Rays. Ra, why. 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 Okay. And how you can rearrange, as I've said this many times, the deck chairs on Atlantis, right? And not remembering, or if you will, having access to what we remember, of not repeating the same mistakes, the same trouble codes of an end user product or similar GUI products that are assembled like assembling toys. And why I made a cryptic remark one time about parents, right? The ultimate parent, the one parent, the first parent, the first father and mother joined as one, right? That I euphemistically say, okay, you've had time to play, right? And so it's like saying, like when my mother would come in and I would notice, not just my mother, but other mothers, and you leave the children alone, right? Hey, you're free. And then the one comes in and realizes, oh, okay, I'm going to pick up all your, I gave you all these toys to play with. Gave you a perfect design. You're free. Have fun. It's already there for you. And then the one comes back and goes, what did you do? Oh my goddess. What did you do? Look what you did. Oh, look. Whenever I used to see that Look candy bar, trick or treat, I used to put the little eyeballs a little shaded, on the inside, like the eyes are looking at each other. You know what that means, right? One eye. Did you ever see the movie with Carl Malden and the guy from Goddess Father, Marlon Brando? What was that movie called? One-Eyed Jacks. Right? Joker's Wild. It's all coded. Okay, time to take the toys away. Playtime's over. As if now we're going to get serious. Terra firma. Think Arshaya. Aya. She mentioned that in a cryptic remark. I used to experience it when I was a child, like, when all the children stop what they're doing. Oh, they listen to mama. When father and mother are one, they listen. That's called an unmuted mic. When the one is present, when the one is always present, they experience that mute isn't muted anymore. And why is that? Because one knows how to unmute your mic. just like Misha. Which means before your mic got muted, there was always the one. So the one can unmute your mic so that you know you're in the presence of the first one. The first Christic spiral. And it's like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yep. A race against time is a race against failsafe. Running out of time. There is no time. And so I was thinking of Nathan Conjoy. And Nathan, who lives right up the street, has a beautiful dog, very loving dog. And the dog is in colors, both mostly white, but spots, dark spots, black spots. First spot of blood, right? Flash, right? Flash. Ignition. Remember when they used to launch that Saturn V with the V chevron? I remember when Dante Sartori there was a number of videos that I watched that he put up on, DSAHK channel. I don't know what happened to those videos. A lot of cool stuff. When he was showing, for example, armor. Like armor. Showing armored artillery that have geometric symbols of who they're with, what they represent as a symbol. Symbols are signs which are signets, which are known as identification. But remember in the movie, what was that called? The Graf's Bay. And there was a movie that is associated with that where they were known as Raiders, and how the inverted language works with those letters. Raiders. R-A, raw, I-D, raw ID. Like in raw materials, raw W. What is a W? It's a wave. Like when you observe an EKG strip of your own electrical wave, spirit in the radio, right? So Nathan's dog, Nathan named the dog. I don't know if he ever asked the dog, hey, what do you want to be called? What do you want to call yourself? Woof. A wolf. Woof, woof. Woof, woof, one. The sound of one. The first mic. Name this male dog Chaos. So he spelled it C-H. And what is C? 3. Right. Heat, fuel, oxygen. Number 4. Right. Heat, fuel, oxygen, and another state of being. Or another state of spiritual being. Atmospheric consciousness. Atmospheric river. Crystal river host. Hosting. You know what it means to be a host, right? My mother went to school to learn how to be a host. Hosting a party. Like hostess ding-dongs. Right? Cross-indexing compartmentalized information, which is data. Right? Self-organizing the information in order to run the APIN grid as they put that design together. So you have CH, right? Remember C and H sugar, and what colors did they have on that bag? Pink and white. California and Hawaii. That's what it said. California and Hawaii. And I know when I was living on the island of Kauai, right? It was the Taylors, the Taylor family. Elizabeth Taylor, the actress, had a brother. Okay, named Howard. And as I remember it, because I know that they owned some property over there, which was why that place where I lived in a treehouse was called Taylor Camp in 1972 and 73. And they were associated with sugar called Spreckles. Spreckle sugar, because of all the sugar cane that was being produced on that island. Right? So you have CH, and then you have A. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, like solar, Kirasha, Alhambra, shield, volcano. So you have C, H, A, and A is number 1 in that alphabet. Yeah. Right. And then you have S, a spiral, like a snake. Right. So it's just like the simple version of this would be, I don't know if you've ever seen a rattlesnake conjoin, but I have. Okay. And what does it do? It's scanning a thermal signature and then adjusts its gun, right? Just like a hypodermic needle, right? How much we need here for that thermal signature, right? And then it loads its gun, right? Loads its needle, right? To make an injection, right? Remember what we're exposed to? What we absorb, what we inhale, right? Or consume, right? Or what we're injected, which are called routes, like a router. You know, a modem and a router. A volcanic router, routing traffic codes. Routing mathematical, geometric grid maps of consciousness, plasma, right? No broken circuits, no turbulence in the water, perfect balance. The gyrodome is in perfect balance, right? So the axial spin rotation of atoms are experiencing the one. No muted mics, right? Now we're all experiencing eternal angelic realities. So CH1 would be CH1 OS. Oh, an operating system, the first operating system. You see how when I was a child growing up, I used a word in the English language called discombobulated, or you know what, C-O-N, like con man, convict, convoluted, blended realities. One is in perfect balance, and the other one's trying to break your plasma wave because it's in perfect balance with one. Knocking on that door. I want your energy. Give me your energy. And so this is one of the reasons why when I was a kid, and I mentioned to my parents that TV's trying to program me, right? And so now you get into the ad revenue, and you can tie this directly what's going on, that they're communicating to us now, the changes that these mics are going through, right? Because when I was a little kid, I used to say to myself, God, that seems like that's, You know, you get to news, it says no spin news with Bill O'Reilly, no spin news. Okay, no spin. And there used to be an old term that I grew up with when I was a kid that came out of the United States Navy from a guy that was a gunnery guy on a battleship who was in World War II. I believe he was on the Wisconsin or the North Carolina. I can't remember which one. One of those that was in the Pacific. And they used to have a term, and this is where the numbers don't lie either. When I used to ask him, hey, what's going on? And you know what his answer was? How did this go, Mama? Moving at 3 knots with no smoke. Three knots with no smoke. Which would be sort of the way that in other language that they would use is, we're just holding water, which is holding space, waiting for the next calm. Or if you will, another way that they would translate that is, we're dead on the water. Or we're dead on the water. The U.S. Navy's dead on the water. Dead water zones, dead pools, dead light magnets. Deadlight magnet. Yeah, deadlight energy. No different than when you choose to take a chainsaw, right? Chain, like in nuclear chain reaction, right? The nucleus of a cell, right? Cold fusion, hot fission reaction states. I'm not experiencing a reaction state. Oh, now I am. Particularly when you're hypersensitive, running hyperspeed. And I experienced somebody running a chainsaw. That's loud. That winding motor, right? Burning up the consciousness of the planet to cut down a sentient tree, right? And then how long it takes in order for the transpiration, transcribing the data of how long it took before it becomes deadlight energy. Now you can burn it at a higher rate of speed, right? And how that is related to the torque speed differential between 3 and 4, or if you will, a flash point and an ignition point of a gas. A gaseous state of mind. Experiencing yourself on fire. Atmospheric consciousness, right? The state of being, the spiritual state of being, using all the numbers and the letters as it relates to what? Experiencing the data. The data-driven program apps, right? Food density networks, like Foo-D. Remember they talked about Foo Fighters? Woo. Wow. Who was that? I don't know, but he was moving at a pretty good clip. A clip. Like nail clippers. The language can get confusing, can it? It depends on the meaning of the intent of the communicator. Now, how much time do I got to take to explain to you what my meaning was versus the one that you're running on in your library? How you associate and cross-index that meaning because it has multiple meanings. I remember mentioning that to Patty Broussard one time when they were having discussions online is, well, put it in the context that we can all understand it so we're all speaking the same language. Oh, like the founder's language. Oh, the sound doesn't lie. So that it matches the frequencies and the codes of the original map, the original language of sound, the first sound. And you can see how this relates to how things get convoluted, how the mic gets muted between the seed and the grower. based on the DNA of the seed and the grower, and its ability to do what? Hold the first pillar of light, the first line of biovoltage communication, so the one's mic is always open. That's silent running, the still point of the first line of communication. I know, Mama. Y'all have a beautiful day, lit up like an 8-day clock.